What if the show you've laughed with, cried over, and argued about for years was suddenly teetering on the edge of collapse, all because one woman refused to back down? Buckle up, because Karoline Leavitt just dropped a bombshell that's rewriting the rules of daytime television. Her latest legal move against The View isn't just a lawsuit. It's a full-on war that's got Whoopi Goldberg, Behar, and the whole ABC crew sweating bullets. Tell me in the comments, have you ever seen a TV drama this wild unfold in real life? I'm dying to know what you think as we unpack this chaos. It all started when everyone thought the dust had settled. Karoline's first lawsuit against The View had already sent shockwaves through the industry, peeling back the curtain on behind-the-scenes messiness and sparking a tidal wave of outrage. The hosts, Whoopi, Joy, and the gang figured they'd dodged the bullet. They'd done their damage control, flashed their smiles, and assumed the spotlight would move on. Big mistake. Karoline didn't just come back. She returned with a vengeance, filing a second lawsuit that's bigger, bolder, and way more dangerous than the first. This isn't a slap on the wrist. It's a sledgehammer aimed straight at the heart of the show. So, what's she throwing at them this time? According to whispers from those in the know, Karoline's legal team is pulling no punches. They're accusing The View of defamation, workplace harassment, and a calculated plot to torch her reputation. She's saying the hosts and producers didn't just toss out a few careless jabs. They allegedly cooked up lies, spread them on air, and even worked behind closed doors to freeze her out of the media world. Court papers are reportedly stuffed with jaw-dropping evidence, emails, texts, and insider accounts that paint a picture of a deliberate smear campaign. We're talking secret chats with media bigwigs to keep her off other networks, on-air stories designed to trash her name, and harassment that didn't stop when the cameras shut off. And the kicker? Karoline's not just asking for an oops. Sorry, she's gunning for millions in damages. If she wins, The View could be staring down a payout so massive it might rattle the show's future to its core. ABC execs? They're in full meltdown mode. Sources say the network's top dogs are racing to figure out how to dodge this legal train wreck. This isn't just another PR hiccup. It's a direct hit to everything The View stands for. They thought Karoline was a storm they could ride out, but they were so wrong. The second that lawsuit hit the courts, the studio turned into a pressure cooker. Picture this. Whoopi Goldberg gets a panicked call from an ABC suit just minutes before showtime. She freezes, wide-eyed, then bolts to her dressing room, shouting, "How does this keep happening?" Behar tries to play it cool at first, smirking like it's no big deal, until she flips through the legal docs and her grin fades fast. Sonny Hostin's grilling the producers, demanding to know why they didn't see this coming. Alyssa Farrah Griffin stays quiet, probably sensing the ship's about to sink, while Sarah Haynes is glued to her phone, praying for a miracle text to fix it all. The producers, meanwhile, are in overdrive, emails zipping back and forth, phones buzzing like crazy, legal advisors scrambling to slap together a game plan before the press spins this into a total circus. And then the real gut punch lands. ABC brass are fuming. They barely put out the fires from Karoline's first lawsuit, and now this? Higher-ups are starting to whisper, did the host push it too far? Is The View more trouble than it's worth? For the first time in forever, the show's future isn't just shaky, it's hanging by a thread. And here's the wildest part. They still don't know what Karoline's got cooking next. The second Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit papers landed, the set of The View turned into a scene straight out of a blockbuster thriller, except this was no script. It was real life unraveling in real time. The hosts thought they'd seen the worst of it, but oh boy, were they in for a shock. Behind those bright studio lights, the panic was spreading like wildfire, and nobody, not Whoopi Goldberg, not Behar, not even the slickest ABC exec, could stop the meltdown that was about to explode. Let's rewind to the moment the news broke. Whoopi's pacing her dressing room like a caged lion, phone pressed to her ear, barking at her legal team. Sources say she slammed the door so hard the walls shook, leaving staffers in the hallway swapping wide-eyed looks. "Are you serious?" Again, she reportedly yelled, her voice bouncing off the walls as she demanded answers. She's pointing fingers everywhere. ABC's lawyers dropped the ball, the producers left her in the dark, and Karoline Leavitt? Whoopi's calling her a tornado with a vendetta, hell-bent on tearing the show apart. But here's the thing. Beneath all that fire, there's fear. This isn't just a headline she can shrug off, it's a legal monster that could drag her name through the mud. Behar's reaction? Total opposite vibe, at least at first. She's leaning back in her chair, tossing out a laugh like it's all a big joke. Another lawsuit? This chick's just fishing for headlines, she quips to the crew, brushing it off like lint on her jacket. But then she starts skimming the court docs, and that smug little chuckle? Gone. Her eyes narrow, her jaw tightens, and suddenly she's the one dialing up ABC execs, voice low and sharp. How long are we going to deal with this? She's turning us into her personal punching bag. By the end of the day, Joy's storming out of the building, snapping at staffers. If this flops, I'm out, done. She's rattled, and for the first time, that tough-as-nails front is cracking wide open. The rest of the crew isn't faring much better. Sonny Hostin's in the pre-show huddle, practically cornering the producers with a glare that could melt steel. Why didn't we have a heads-up? She demands, hands on hips, while Alyssa Farrah Griffin sits there, silent as a ghost, probably clocking how deep this mess runs. Sarah Haynes is a nervous wreck, scrolling her phone like it's a lifeline, hoping some PR genius will text her a way out. Meanwhile, the producers are sprinting around like it's Black Friday at a discount store, phones ringing off the hook, emails piling up, legal advisors barking orders. It's chaos, pure and simple, and nobody's got a clue how to put the lid back on this boiling pot. Then the hammer drops from above. ABC's top dogs are livid, red-faced, tie loosening. Where did we go wrong, livid? They'd spent weeks smoothing over Karoline's first lawsuit, thinking they'd patched the leaks in the ship. Now, it's sinking faster than they can bail. Insiders say execs are huddled in crisis talks, asking the big questions. Did Whoopi and Joy cross a line they can't uncross? Has The View turned into a runaway train nobody can steer? For years, the show's been a cash cow, a controversy magnet that kept viewers hooked. But this time, the heat's too much. One exec reportedly snapped, "When does this stop being worth the headache?" And that's when the whispers start. Maybe the hosts are the problem. Maybe the show's the problem. Maybe it's time to rethink everything. As the day drags on, Whoopi's holed up, fuming in silence, while Joy's bravado fades into quiet dread. The studio's a pressure cooker, and the clock's ticking louder by the second. ABC's scrambling to slap a Band-Aid on this disaster. But here's the kicker. They've got no idea what Karoline's next move is. She's out there, plotting, and they're in here, sweating. The internet's about to catch wind of this, and when it does, oh, it's gonna blow the roof off. The instant Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit hit the news, it was like tossing a match into a room full of fireworks. Everything exploded, and The View was caught in the blast zone. Picture ABC's corporate headquarters, phones buzzing nonstop, inboxes buried under a flood of notifications, execs dragged from their comfy chairs into a marathon emergency meeting that burned past midnight. This wasn't a quick tabloid blip. It was a legal juggernaut, loaded with details so spicy even the smoothest PR pros were wiping their brows in a panic. Karoline didn't just toss a complaint into the ring. She came armed to the teeth. Her legal crew dropped the case, so airtight it left ABC's attorneys staring at their notepads, stumped. Think leaked emails, secret recordings, a breadcrumb trail of behind-the-scenes muck now glowing under a public microscope. This wasn't some flimsy accusation. It was a step-by-step takedown, and the world couldn't look away. Inside ABC's strategy room, the air was thick with frustration. One top exec reportedly slammed his fist down, growling, "How did we let this spiral so far?" The legal team's comeback hit hard. "We didn't think she'd come out swinging like this." Too bad, Karoline was all in, and they were stuck scrambling to catch up. The network raced to cobble together a counterattack. First move, churn out a vague statement, playing the lawsuit off like it was small potatoes. Second, slap a muzzle on the View hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, the whole crew, telling them to keep their mouths shut on air. No slip-ups allowed. Third, slide a discreet offer to Karoline's people, hoping a quiet deal could sweep this mess under the rug. But here's the twist, Karoline's team didn't even flinch. Their response? A flat, "I see, she's not talking. Catch us in court, pal." That's when ABC's bigwigs felt the ground shake. This wasn't just a PR headache anymore. It was a full-on avalanche of exposure, and they were losing their grip fast. Then the internet erupted like a volcano mid-broadcast. Karoline Leavitt's name rocketed to the top of every trending chart. Hashtags like hashtag Karoline versus The View and hashtag ABC panic spreading like a digital contagion. Conservative outlets jumped in headfirst, no hesitation. Fox News blared, "Karoline Leavitt strikes again at The View, and she's not holding back." The Daily Wire piled on with, "ABC's in total chaos mode. What's Karoline hiding up her sleeve?" Even indie commentators couldn't resist. One YouTuber went live, shaking his head. "I always suspected The View was rotten, but this? They're done for." The video snowballed, racking up millions of clicks before ABC could even process it. Liberal media, though, They were in damage control overdrive, trying to snuff out the inferno. CNN shrugged it off as another conservative attention stunt, while MSNBC branded Karoline a courtroom cowboy chasing fame. The New York Times rolled out a polished op-ed, suggesting big right-wing players were steering her moves. Problem was, the public wasn't buying the spin. Fans didn't need pundits to decode it. They had the unedited files, the sound bites, the raw story breaking wide open. Online, the reaction was savage. Comments flooded in. The View's been peddling trash forever, finally getting what's coming. ABC wanted to crush her, now she's crushing them. Never tuned in, but this makes me loathe them anyway. By midday, the lawsuit owned America's attention. By dusk, it was a relentless news cyclone. And ABC? They were drowning in it, one viral post at a time. With Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit blazing across every screen, The View is a ship taking on water fast, and Whoopi Goldberg and Behar decided it was time to grab the wheel. Big mistake. They figured they could talk their way out of this mess, flip the script, and shove Karoline back into the shadows. Spoiler alert, it didn't go down like that. Their next move wasn't just a misstep, it was a faceplant that turned a bad situation into a total train wreck. The very next episode of The View kicked off with a vibe so tense you could cut it with a butter knife. Whoopi steps up first, voice tight as a drum, trying to play it smooth. "Look, I just gotta say something quick," she starts, starting like she's reading an invisible cue card. "This whole thing's silly. We're all about real talk here. Everybody's welcome at this table." Joy jumps in, leaning forward with a smirk that doesn't quite reach her eyes. "Come on, let's be real. This is a cheap trick. Some folks can't handle women who speak their truth, so they slap lawsuits on us and cry foul." The crowd claps, but it's shaky, like they're not sure they believe it either. Something's off. Maybe it's Whoopi's clipped tone, or Joy's laugh that cracks halfway through. Whatever it is, the magic isn't working. As soon as the cameras cut, the internet pounced like a pack of wolves on a wounded deer. Instead of clawing back control, Whoopi and Joy handed Karoline a megaphone, and the backlash was instant. Social media lit up with razor-sharp takes. Wait, Whoopi's saying they welcome all views? The same Whoopi who bailed mid-argument. Joy calling Karoline a victim? That's rich coming from the queen of yelling over guests. They're flailing. This is desperation dressed up as a chat show. Clips of their on-air jab started looping everywhere, side by side with Karoline's calm, collected press moments. The contrast? Brutal. She's cool as ice. They're sweating through their makeup. It's game over before the credits roll. Here's where it gets juicy. They didn't just fumble. They tripped over their own feet and made Karoline's case for her. Joy smirks. This is their playbook. Come on our show, stir the pot, then run to their safe spaces whining. Whoopi nods, tossing in, same old dance. They crave the spotlight. That's it. Bad move. Within minutes, the web's flooded with throwbacks. Every time they cut off a guest, every time they dodged a tough point. Karoline's lawsuit isn't some tantrum. It's got teeth, documents, recordings, proof. And the more they mocked her, the more they proved her point. They've been running the table too long, and now the bill's due. ABC stayed quiet at first, crossing their fingers the storm would blow over. Fat chance. The online roasting wouldn't quit. Memes of Whoopi clutching a lawsuit incoming sign, Joy fake laughing with "when you realize your toast" captions. It's a bloodbath. Then a leak hits, an internal email from ABC brass, begging the hosts to cool it. Tread light, it warns. Did they? Nope. They doubled down, and the hole got deeper. Network suits had to act fast, yanking the episode off streaming, scrubbing the clip from YouTube, firing off a stern memo. Stop poking the bear. Too late. Whoopi and Joy thought they could outtalk Karoline. Instead, they gift-wrapped her the win of the century. For years, they'd ruled that set like queens, shutting down voices, steering every debate. Now, they're cornered, and the audience smells blood. Every snarky jab they threw just painted them as the hypocrites Karoline's been calling out. They're freaking out. They've never had to answer for this before. One commenter nailed it. She's untouchable, and they're crumbling. The hosts wanted a fight. They got a massacre. And the fallout? It's about to hit like a tidal wave nobody saw coming. What happens when the tables turn so hard they flip right over? That's where The View landed after Karoline Leavitt's lawsuit went from a spark to a full-blown inferno. And now, the flames are licking at ABC's foundations. For decades, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and their crew ruled daytime TV like queens of an unshakable kingdom, dodging scandals, shrugging off haters, and keeping the audience hooked with just enough spice. But Karoline didn't just knock on their door, she kicked it down, and the wreckage is a sight to behold. Here's your chance to weigh in. Drop a comment. Do you think The View can claw its way out of this grave? Or is Karoline about to bury them for good? I'm buzzing to hear your predictions after we unpack this jaw-dropping finale. By now, the chaos was a runaway train. Behind ABC's glossy walls, execs were in a tailspin, leaked emails spilling secrets about bosses losing their cool, desperate to wrestle this monster back into its cage. Late-night crisis sessions piled up, with some suits slamming Whoopi and Joy, snarling that their loose lips sank the ship. They've turned this into a circus. One reportedly raged, while another muttered, "We're bleeding cash over this." And bleed they did. Advertisers were bolting left and right. Big names like household brands yanking sponsorships as phone lines lit up with furious customers demanding answers. This wasn't a slap on the wrist, it was a financial gut punch, and the numbers were turning ugly fast. The audience wasn't playing nice either. Longtime fans who'd stood by Whoopi's rants and Joy's zingers were starting to squint at their screens, rethinking their allegiance. "I used to love them, but this feels off," one tweeted, echoing a growing murmur. Meanwhile, conservative viewers, folks ABC had written off years ago, were practically dancing in the streets, chanting for the show's downfall. "Cancel it already," trended nationwide, and the noise was deafening. Inside the network, the whispers grew into a roar, the View's hanging by a thread. If this lawsuit digs deeper, we're toast. Rumors swirled. Some said execs were plotting to bench the hosts. Others swore the whole show was on the chopping block. One more hit, and we might pull the plug, a source dished to a tabloid, and suddenly, the unthinkable felt chillingly real. Whoopi and Joy kept their chins up on camera, tossing off the drama like it was yesterday's news. "We've been through worse," Joy quipped one day, flashing a grin that didn't quite stick. But off-air, they were unraveling. Insiders painted a picture of dressing rooms thick with tension, Whoopi pacing, muttering about unfair shots, Joy snapping at staffers. How long till this blows over? They knew the stakes. One more legal jab could snap ABC's patience. One more sponsor drop could drain the budget dry. They'd thrived on stirring the pot, but now it was bubbling over, scalding them in their own game. And Karoline Leavitt? She was the mastermind fanning the flames, cool as ever while the empire trembled. She didn't flinch, she charged. Her next move was a statement that landed like a lightning bolt. For too long, The View has mangled the truth, smeared anyone who doesn't kneel to their agenda, and acted like they're above the law. That ends today. Short, sharp, and loaded, it was a battle cry that shook the airwaves. Conservative corners erupted, tweets flying, "She's dismantling the media Goliath one stone at a time." Influencers rallied. "This isn't just her win, it's ours." Liberal outlets flailed. CNN sneered, "She's turning courts into her stage." MSNBC wailed, "She's choking free speech." The New York Times penned a lofty piece about hidden agendas, but it flopped. Why? The evidence didn't bend. Clips, docs, audio, all backing Karoline's every word. The spin couldn't stick when the truth was this raw. Then came the knockout punch, a leaked recording from an ABC meeting, crackling with an ex-sex voice. "We let this get out of hand. If she pushes harder, it's not just The View. It could unravel how we've run the whole machine." The web went berserk. Retweets hit millions. Comments screamed, "They're cooked." Karoline seized the moment, stepping up to a press mic. "Eyes locked on the lens. This fight's bigger than me. It's about truth getting a fair shot, about holding power accountable, about making sure the media faces the same rules they slap on everyone else." The crowd roared, applause drowning out the hum of cameras. Online, it was pandemonium. Memes, threads, live reactions piling up. ABC? They had nothing, no defense, no dodge, just silence as the storm raged. So here we are, teetering on the edge. Can The View dodge this bullet? Or is the curtain finally dropping? Karoline's got the deck stacked, unshaken, unstoppable, with whispers of other voices, maybe past guests, eyeing their own moves. Is this the spark that torches the media's old tricks for good? ABC's lost the wheel, the hosts are floundering, and the crowd's picking winners. The clock's ticking loud, Karoline's not done, and the next play could flip the board entirely. What's your call, endgame or encore?